Hello and welcome back to Fudge Muppet. My name is Scott and today we have a treat for you, a shiny new top 5 on one of the most recognizable types of weapon in the Elder Scrolls. That's right, we're taking a look at the top 5 unique katanas that you can find during your journey throughout Tamriel. Whether you're seeking out a unique blade for your next playthrough or something to accessorize your fedora collection, we've got you covered in this video. These aren't just the standard weapons wielded by the descendants of the Sayesi, the Dragon Guard and the Blades. No, these weapons are powerful beyond belief. So let's jump in with number 5, Harkon's Sword. For how long Harkon wielded this blade is not known, but his death frees the blade from the ancient vampire's grasp. Over the time it spent with him, it would seem that the blade came to mirror its master's affliction, offering any vampire who would wield the blade unique effects. Because of this, it makes for a perfect role-playing weapon for any vampires, utilizing the ancient weapon once owned by one of history's most dastardly undead. This blade is dark and ornate, dappled with crimson, as if the blood of victims has stained the weapon. It has a unique guard at the top of the pommel with angled wings that make the shape of a bat each side of the blade. Quite fitting for a vampire lord, the weapon drains 15 points of magicka, health and stamina from any victim it hits. The reason this blade sits at number 5 and not higher is that it does require you to be a vampire to maximize its effects, which comes with its own set of powers and limitations. Interestingly, Harkon doesn't seem to be guarding this blade all too carefully despite its value. While you'll always be able to loot it from his body on death, if you have high enough stealth you can pickpocket this weapon off of him before the end of Kindred Judgment. We can't imagine he'd be very happy with this arrangement, but by the time he'd realize, he really has bigger things to worry about. Up next is one of the most powerful weapons from Morrowind, once owned by a captain of the Imperial Guard, Tienius Dutilion. He guards it carefully and with good reason. The long thin blade is ornate, its hilt inlaid with intricate designs, black and silver in colour with ripples of crimson on the blade. We like to think that the name is supposed to instill fear in anyone prepared to fight you, because when you're facing down someone wielding this blade, they may as well be digging their own grave. The blade is empowered with the ability to damage 40 points of health with a chance to paralyze its target for 3 seconds. It's a terrifying thing to think about being on the pointy end of this weapon, paralyzed while you're carved up by its speedy swings. It's a Daedric weapon, making it one of the most powerful and sought after items in the Elder Scrolls series. And for those who don't know, Daedric weapons are made from ebony corrupted by being infused with Daedric essence. This scary process makes for a fearsome blade, which is why it's guarded so carefully. Getting Gravedigger in the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind accounts for part of the reason why it's on this list. It's incredibly tough, and doing so sacrifices a large chunk of quests if you seek it out before completing the Tribunal DLC. Number 3 has a storied history that makes it an excellent weapon for the Dragonborn to have in Skyrim. What better to slay dragons than an ancient blade crafted specifically for that purpose? The ancient Dragon Guard have just the weapon for you. Dragon Bane is a relic of the few Sayesi allowed to stay in Tamriel after their invasion in the First Era, their reputation for decimating dragons known throughout the realm. Legends tell that they drove the dragons from Akavir to Tamriel in the Merethic era, and this blade is one of the remaining pieces of their fearsome yet mysterious legacy. Onto the weapon itself though. The blade is slender with a silver finish. The guard displays a coiled serpent, once again harkening back to the Sayesi's snake-like lineage. When set down, it looks like any other blade, but the weapon's enchantment is striking when in use. Electricity fizzles along the blade itself, empowering it to deal shock damage to all it comes in contact with, but it also lives up to the name, Dragonbane, by offering 20 to 40 points of bonus damage to the fearsome flying beasts. Anyone sheepish about their chances against dragons should seek this weapon out, as it boasts centuries of victories. It can be found in Skyhaven Temple, the abandoned headquarters of the Blades and Dragon Guard. To complete the look, you can find the blade alongside a full set of the iconic Blades armor. It's pretty cool to be able to don the armor of old and charge into the fray headfirst, equipped with some of the finest gear ever crafted. The next katana may be gold in color, but we're giving it the silver medal. If you haven't guessed yet, we're talking about Goldbrand and its enhanced form, Eltenbrand. From dragon-slaying weapon to a blade made by the dragons, this katana is as unique as they come. This weapon was forged by the dragons in the frozen north of Skyrim during the time of the Dragon Cult, where these ancient creatures lived as you'd imagine early settlers would. They raised cattle and practiced smithing, and Goldbrand was said to have been created for a loyal knight sworn to protect the dragons. One glance at the weapon and you'll see why it was named Goldbrand. The long blade is shining gold with a large gold or amber ball on the hilt in its original form. While originally forged by dragons, the blade now contains the power of Boethiah, the Daedric Prince of Deceit and Conspiracy, which causes it to burn those struck by the blade. At some point, the katana fell into the hands of Boethiah, corrupted and offered as a prize to mortals who have restored his monuments to glory or proved their skill in combat. The weapon has passed through many skilled hands in its long history, with rumours suggesting that even Titus Mede II wielded the weapon when he retook the Imperial City during the Great War. This weapon deserves its place in second not only because it looks amazing, but also because of the two forms it can take. Initially created as an Easter egg in Morrowind, Eltenbrand is identical in appearance to the original blade, but offers extra damage and bonus enchantments. It fortifies attacks and restores fatigue when used, justifiably after the lengthy process required to receive the weapon in Morrowind. The name Eltenbrand is a reference to an NBA player from Bethesda developer Mark Nelson's favourite team in college. The Duke Blue Devils star player was called Elton Brand, and the object ID is a reference to their historic win of 111-71 against the Carolina Tar Heels. It's rare to see little Easter eggs like this in the games, but we think it adds a cool piece of history to such a unique weapon. Now there's only one thing left to do: discuss the honourable mentions. There were so many great katanas in the game that we had to jump in before revealing our number one to touch on two that very nearly missed out on the top 5. Our first honourable mention goes to Bolar's Oathblade. The blade was owned by Asilius Bolar, a notable Blades member who survived the attack on the Cloud Ruler Temple by the Thalmor. He died fighting those Thalmor who killed so many of his order in their campaign. His blade is adorned with the winding snake guard of the blades and can be found beneath the Shrine of Talos in Bloated Man's Grotto, next to a simple note, a call for the next wielder to live and fight with the honour of the blades. I go forth to meet my death with honour. If you are worthy, take up my blade and do the same. It scored an honourable mention because we think its story is really interesting and the weapon bears a decent enchantment, but it just doesn't match up to some of the more powerful blades we've listed. Our second and final honourable mention is Northwind. The unique katana is from the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, wielded by undead Blades member Elaine in Sankator. The blade was dubbed Northwind due to the icy chill many will feel when in the presence of this katana. This one makes the list as it's the only known katana to be imbued with frost damage. Its name and enchantment create an awesome feeling for role-playing a character from the frosty north of Skyrim. And now your patience is rewarded. We can reveal that the unique katana we feel is best in the Elder Scrolls is the Ebony Blade. This dark weapon is a Daedric mimicry of the powerful Akaviri blades, a vicious and vampiric artifact you can swing with your own hands. The Daedra deal in imitation, so it's no wonder that one of their most powerful and vampiric artifacts takes the form of the katana, given their legacy from the Saesi. This weapon belongs to Mephala, the Daedric Prince of Lies and Secrecy. Be warned, if this weapon is one you want to seek out, dark deeds and betrayals lie in the pursuit of its power. The katana is pure black, adorned with ornate carvings of the Daedra on the blade and hilt. It's said to resist even the hottest fires of the Skyforge, immune to traditional forms of smithing. The weapon slices through enemies super fast, draining the health of foes upon hitting a target. The vampiric power of the katana can be increased through a dark ritual encouraged by Mephala herself. Anyone who picks up the blade will be tempted by Mephala. She whispers in the ear of mortals, telling them the blade can be strengthened by the blood of deceit. This means murdering close friends you've made along your journey, with every 2 killed by the Ebony Blade adding to the amount of health the blade absorbs. Mephala celebrates the treachery, telling those who succumb completely to her influence that she's pleased with their dark deeds. At last, my blade is returned to its full glory. Now go forth, child. Continue your tiny subversions against the orders of trust and intimacy. We think this weapon absolutely exemplifies everything one could ask for in a unique katana. It has a bunch of awesome lore, a dark and sordid questline, and immense power when the katana reaches its final form. Whether you indulge your dark desires and power up the blade, or simply wield it at its base power, it's a powerful weapon for any sword user in the Elder Scrolls. We loved playing around with this weapon ourselves and highly recommend using it to tear apart the friendships you've made over your journey in Skyrim. And there you have it, guys, our top 5 unique katanas that you can find in the Elder Scrolls games. Did we cover your favorites, or would you have given one of the early weapons a higher ranking on the list? Let us know which blades you choose to wield in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Scott from Fudge Muppet, and I'll be back to nerd out with you again in the next one.